right, Sophie Cool here with Opus from Dead by Wednesday. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Real good, man.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. It's just beautiful out today, actually, for a change. And now I've been in New England. It's been cold, really early. And actually, I just got back from Texas and Louisiana. And believe it or not, I thought it was going to be warm. I definitely did not pack properly because we were all freezing. In fact, some of the guys actually went to Walmart and bought winter coats. It was like in the low 40s and 30s, like high 30s in Texas. It was weird at night, obviously at night. But yeah, wow, crazy.
So you were there for your first shows back in forever now, but it seems like forever with this lockdown.
Yeah, it's I played one show before this run. It was at the New York Harvest Festival with my Black Sabbath tribute band called Earth. It's earthsabbathtributeusa.com. We tour all over the world. With that band, we did one show outside since January, and it went really well. There was like about 1,000 people, and they were all being safe for the most part. Not all of them, but some of them, most of them. And I'm playing outside on stage, so obviously I'm better off, unfortunately. But it's not really. The problem is nowadays is that people look at it so badly that people are bringing people together. But at the same time, I feel like if it's done properly and safely, people are checked at the door temperature-wise. They wear their masks, and they install that. They have to do it. That's the one thing. And if you can't do that, then you don't come. I mean, people dress up for Halloween. Who cares? Just throw a little mask on for the shows. I mean, and honestly, dude, but I see these Halloween events with 3,000 people. Yeah, they're wearing masks, but it's 3,000 people up each other's butt. And then you got all these rallies and protests, and it's listen, I know it's real, because I know people that have gotten it. I know touring musicians, friends of mine, who have gotten it, pneumonia, been in hospital. So yeah, it's scary. I'm not going to lie. But there comes a point in your life where I've worked my ass off since I booked my first show at age 13, never looked back, where I worked my ass off to get to this point in my career, and I've taken a lot of time off, but I need to work as well as everybody else. Everyone else is working. I need to work. I need to make a living. I need to bring home some money for the family. You know what I mean? So I'm at the point where I'm saying yes to everything, and whatever happens, happens. If it's out of my control, it gets canceled. It gets canceled. I mean, I'm going to be as responsible and safe as I can be personally, and that's what everyone should be doing. Everyone should be personally taking responsibility, washing their hands, using hand sanitizer, wearing the mask, doing the things that they're supposed to do. And hey, at least you can say you did what you did. But you know what? Why should we be the only ones that can't work? I mean, 100 person capacity, 100 people in a 700 capacity or 1,000 capacity room still brings in some sort of income, and and we could do it with enough space. But that's not okay in a lot of places, except for the areas that we played. But it's okay to have 3,000 people at a haunted event, or giant rallies for this ridiculous election that is a complete, personally for me, a complete scam. The whole thing is just I don't even want to get into that, but yeah, so that's why we went out, and we want to be the forerunners. We want to be the people that are no, we worked. Yes, we might get sick. It's a risk. It's definitely a risk. But you know what else is a risk? It's getting up every day and living. That's always a risk. And at some point we need to live. It's a passion for me. I've been doing it for so long, and we're then you get ripped away after it's the biggest year of your career. It gets ripped away, and I listened. I stayed back. I didn't do what I had to do. But after a while, it's okay. Now I'm completely at zero. What am I supposed to do here? I can't go get a job at somewhere like a Wendy's or a McDonald's and flip burgers, because that's also dangerous too. It's what am I supposed to do? I'm a musician. That's what I grew up to doing. That's what I've been doing for many, many decades, or a couple decades at least. And I just feel like I need to need to work. So I'm being cautious. I'm being careful. I'm doing the right things. And at the same time, a lot of places aren't happening. A lot of things are getting canceled. A lot of things can't happen. Like there's like laws and restrictions. So, we had an offer to go out to Texas and Louisiana for Halloween weekend. It was a good offer. All the shows were outdoors. And it was a risk, but we took the risk, and so far so good. I'm waiting on that's what I'm doing right now. I'm sitting around waiting on my COVID test to see, I'm in the doghouse in the band room, living there for a few days, waiting to see my boy. So, that's also a sacrifice. So I know that if I go away and tour, I'm not going to be able to see my boy, not only for when I'm gone, but when I come home, I got to sit around for at least 3 days before taking a test. Just to be able to play for people. And I appreciate the people that come out because they're taking a risk too. But at the same time, we're all sacrificing to be out there to play for people. So I hope that people see it that way too, not just, they're being irresponsible for bringing crowds together. And and a lot of people aren't saying that, thank God. They're actually happy for us and being very supportive. But there are always going to be those naysayers,
Well, what people don't understand is that being a musician is actually a job. I mean, you can't rely on your fans these days to purchase your music to continue doing what you do.
You have to tour. You have to tour, and you have to sell actual merchandise.
So how were the shows, man? I mean, how was it doing a socially distanced, COVID show?
Honestly, it would have been double packed. It would have been twice as packed as it was. And they were all good shows. They were all solid numbers, solid crowds to play in front of. And it wasn't overpacked by any means. But I would say in the hundreds, a couple hundred here and there. And then there's some places that were a little more, but it's hard to tell because one place was literally it could hold 5,000 people. And there was maybe 300 in there or something. So, but they did that on purpose, and it looked weird to us, but it was great to play. It was super fun. It was super awesome, super successful, and it felt like it revived me a little bit. Okay, there's hope. There's hope here. So.
Yeah, man, I seen some of the videos. It looked awesome.
Yeah, so I did one. So basically, I did one show only since January with my Sabbath tribute in October outside, which ended up being completely fine and completely fun and successful as well. But listen to this: the next day, the person who rented the land got arrested and fined $15,000. So it wasn't okay, but we lucked out because we actually ended up getting there early. We played, we got paid, we had fun. The rain even held out. We got completely lucky that day. And then the next day it was all fucked. All of it. The rain, the shutdown. So we lucked out on that one. But then this one was done right. This was me and Dave Sharp from Dead by Wednesday, playing with Tom Hazart, Bumblefoot of Guns N' Roses, and David Ellefson of Megadeth, which is his solo band called Ellefson. And they have a new covers album coming out that we're actually on. We play a version of Crocus's Eat the Rich, which is on the album, coming out November 20th. But there's some great covers on there. We do a bunch of covers during the show. We play some old school Megadeth. We do some solo material that him and Tom Hazart, his partner and singer, are doing together. And basically, it's like a small super group. I don't know if it's small and super all in one.
That's awesome, man. What was it like? What was it like getting everyone back together? I mean, obviously a band like that, you guys aren't all in the same area, so you had a little time for rehearsal, maybe like a day or so.
Oh yeah, we came in 2 days early and we rehearsed. And the first one was rough. It was just because no one's played since forever. A lot of these guys haven't even picked up their instrument. I mean, they picked up their instrument, but I'm saying live, which is a whole different animal. You know what I mean? It's a whole different animal. Live compared to playing at home, just sitting down, writing or recording is a whole different beast. But so we're first we shot a couple videos, which came out great. We did a video for Eat the Rich, which is going to be coming out in the near future. They also shot a video for a song called Riff Raff that's on the album, and it was just those guys because we weren't on that song. But Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys was there, and he sings on the song that we're on. So him and Tom Hazar both were in that video along with David Ellefson, Bumblefoot, who's their guitar player as well, and my good friend, and then my guitar player in Dead by Wednesday, Dave Sharp. So we shot 2 videos, and then after the show, we shot 2 videos. When we flew in, that's the day we flew in. It was super successful. Everyone was energized. Everyone was into it. You know, people were like, it was electricity going around because we haven't been able to do this in a while. So, of course, it was weird with the whole COVID thing hanging over our heads, especially with the flight. The flight was just like, you know, super weird and scary. They weren't social distancing at all. You know, everyone was on top of each other. There's people behind me coughing and shit. But, you know, everyone had masks. Everyone had to have masks. So that was a good thing. And I hear they're actually disinfecting the planes more and more now and getting on top of that stuff. And it's pretty safe to fly again. So, you know, I put everything into his hands and just kind of went with it. And it turned out great, you know. So that after we did the 2 videos that night, we actually attempted to rehearse. And just for the first time in a while, and what was going to be a short rehearsal, because we were going to do it again the next day, ended up being the whole set, which is good because it made us tighter. It made us better, because the next day we came in and we actually ran the set again 2 more times and fixed any little details that David wanted fixing, or just in general making it better. And so we ended up playing the set 3 times before we even went out for our first show, which was the next day. And then we played Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then Louisiana on Halloween, and Houston, Texas on Sunday, and Friday in San Antonio, which was probably one of the better shows. And all with Saliva, a band called The Killer's Confession, a new band called The Crowned, and a bunch of local bands too on top of that. So it was very cool. I had a blast, man, and it was definitely worth doing, I feel, you know.
Killer Confession, that's Waylon Revis's band, right?
That is Waylon, yeah. He's a really good buddy of mine. I helped get him signed to EMP, actually, originally, with his first album.
That's awesome, man. That sounds like a great lineup.
Yeah, yep. And he actually does a guest vocalist song called I Will Define. You can Google it on YouTube. And he does, he's on the Dead by Wednesday guest vocalist album. We did a guest vocalist album that originally came out. That was the first album that came out on David Ellison's label, called The Darkest of Angels. And it's a song, an album, it's like a concept album about recovery from drugs and alcohol. And basically it's dedicated to our old singer, Joe, who in Dead by Wednesday. And we didn't have a singer at the time, so we decided to do a guest vocalist album where Dead by Wednesday wrote and recorded all the music and material. And then we had different singers from different bands that we worked with or friends with that were like, you know, known guys jump on each song different. So we had like Brian Fair from Shadows Fall on there. We have John Arch, the original singer from Fate's Warning. He's a Connecticut cat. Waylon Revis is on it. Sean Danielson from Smile Empty Soul. We got Rob Dukes, formerly from Exodus, now what's his new band there? Generation Kill. And then a bunch of other great guys. I mean, we have my former singer from my old band, Gargantua Soul, on there, Chris Keys. We have my old singer, Chesky, my cousin, who started Dead by Wednesday with me. He's on it. It's a really cool concept. It's kind of like what hip-hop artists do with, like, the DJs. They'll make beats, and then they have different rappers go jump on each song and make it like almost like a compilation. But we did like a heavy metal version of that, in a sense, you know?
Like a rock and roll mixtape.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. But the band's all the same. The band's Dead by Wednesday. And it's a Dead by Wednesday release. So. That's
awesome, man.
Yeah, and there's some really other, I'm blanking on some other guys that are, Carly Coma from Candiria is singing on it. Eric AK from Flotsam and Jetsam, he's on it. And that's, all that stuff's available on, we have, new stuff too out. We have brand new stuff too, and merch and everything. And that's all available on Bandcamp. If you go to Dead by Wednesday on bandcamp.com, Spotify has all that stuff. And then obviously, at all the live shows and stuff, and
Yeah, man. Speaking of the new stuff, that S.O.S. track, that's awesome.
Yeah, S.O.S. is actually growing some legs and like what's the word? Genuinely like getting some organic love online. Like it's actually doing really well, and I can't be happier, man. Like I grew up always being more of a thrash metalhead, and although I love old school rock and roll, I love hard rock, I love some guitar rock, like, and some like hair rock and like hair metal, and like I like everything. I like everything from Slayer to Grateful Dead, everything in between. Classical music. I'm just not a huge fan of pop. Some stuff here and there, like Post Malone, I dig, obviously. And some of those guys that are a little more creative with the pop, that's one thing. But like pop country is just like gross. I like old school country, well, I like everything. I just don't really like pop too much or pop country, like that's just not my thing. But I really like old school hip hop. I really dig. I love old school hip hop. I've actually worked with guys like I played with one from Daryl from Run DMC with David before, and Tom. I've also done. I did a track with Professor Griff from Public Enemy in the past with my old band Gargantua Soul in the '90s. So like I love that kind of stuff too, and I learn a lot. I learn a lot from hip hop with drumming because it's all pocket drumming, straight up hit like break beats and shit.
Now, with his track S.O.S., man, I mean, the new singer, I think he's a perfect fit for you guys.
Oh, yeah. My buddy G-Rock, this guy Gary, who I've been working with forever, he helped out with a lot of video production and graphic design for as long as I've known him. He's been doing it for me. He actually suggested him. He saw him at a local show he was singing for a local band called Condition Zero. That was his band. And they were a local Connecticut band. I had no idea who he was, no idea about the band. Gary, who also plays in a band, S.O.S. Right now, which is funny, it's Soldiers of Solace. That was the name of the band that he plays in, Soldiers of Solace. So they're a Connecticut local band as well. Well, actually, they had a deal overseas in Germany. So they have something going on. It's not necessarily local band, but they are local technically, being from Connecticut, just like we are, and Hatebreed and everybody else. But anyway, so he suggested I check this guy out. Now, ironically, because of what's going on with the world, I had a thought of doing a chorus with S.O.S. being like a call for help because of everything that's happening with the world, and not thinking that Gary's band was actually sort of that's kind of subconsciously, I guess, S.O.S. being his band, whatever. And then my old band Gargantua Soul, come to find out, I forgot completely that we had a song called S.O.S. back in the day. So it's just weird that title just keeps getting used. But it came up again, not without me even realizing it, and it just was appropriate for what's going on right now. But we wanted to change things up a little bit. Since he's Puerto Rican, I also work with the band Puya, the all original members, and I've always been into that Latin metal style, like El Nino and some of that stuff, like those kind of bands. My buddy Mark Rizzo from Soulfly, who I also work with, and I also book, who I should probably get you an interview with, if I can. He started El Nino. He was a guitar player, and he's actually an amazing dude and an amazing guitar player that I work with as well. And I think that basically the influence we decided to try something different. I wanted to do some hand drums. I love playing tribal hand drums and like different percussion stuff, so I wanted to add that. And that just happened, it sort of happened. I just love the fact that it was pretty freaking heavy because it brought us back to our roots. Like Dead by Wednesday was based off of a huge middle finger to the industry when my old band broke up. I wanted to just go basically, hardcore metal underground. And, it morphed over the years. We found a singer who could sing. So we had a lot of singing going on and a lot of melodic stuff too before this change. And then we found this guy, and although he could sing, and we are going to have singing on it, it's not going to be the same vibe. It's going to be more old school, like metal. Like, we know what we are. We're not spring chickens. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We know that we're a metal band, and there's probably not going to get onto top 40 radio, and if there's even any radio left, if there isn't, it's like Sirius, and that's about it, which already sort of plays us here and there. So basically, we're just gonna be what we are and not try to do anything. And we're a metal band, so we're gonna keep being a metal band, and that's what we did, and that's what happened with S.O.S. And I couldn't be happier, man. The song's great, and the band's awesome, and I can't wait to play out with those guys. We haven't even played a show yet with this lineup. We just released stuff first.
Yeah, weren't you guys supposed to go on the road with Twisted and Slain, right?
Yeah, we were supposed to go out with Twisted and Slain and ABK and a bunch of other guys. And we were also supposed to go, I was supposed to go to Europe, and me and Dave Sharp were supposed to go to Japan with Ellefson. And all of it got canceled. We are doing, supposedly, if this run goes well with Ellefson, supposedly Dead by Wednesday is going out in December in the same areas in the Midwest, supposedly. So we will see. Hopefully that happens. So I don't know what's happening with the world, but it seems like they're trying to close shit down again for the second time. So we'll see what happens. I don't know.
We're definitely going to see what happens in the next few days if shit starts getting fucking closed down again. That's for sure.
Definitely.
So you guys go back out on the road in about a week, right?
Is it that soon?
Yeah, I think it's like the 18th, something like that. Today's,
Jesus Christ, I better get my shit together.
Now, I've been following your career for a while, man. I really thought 2020 was going to be the year for you, man. How was it like having such a setback?
It sucks. I'm not gonna lie. And we might not get it back. I mean, luckily we did this little run, so it kind of put us back in there into their into their eyes, and we were rocking, and we had a great time. And honestly, like, the lineup, I know they have another lineup in Europe, which is Andrea, awesome guitar player, and I believe the drummer was named Paulo, I think it's Paulo. And they have their own thing going on out there too, and an album coming out. So we're like, almost like, I want to say if you were to give us a title, we're like the U.S. touring band / if or whenever we're needed, guys, like almost like second string a little bit, but it's still a blessing and an honor, and I would never miss that opportunity. So I'm happy just being that, because we have our own band, and I have another band that I also work on, and honestly, there's something else brewing right now that I haven't even told anybody, but me and Tony from Static X and Mark Rizzo might be doing a little trio in the near future, doing like songs from all the camps, kind of throwing it together.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's not going to be like you've heard it here first. It's not like 100%, but it's like 99.9% right now. We're in negotiations, and I think it's going to happen. So even if it's just a couple tours, just for fun, it's not going to be like I don't know if we're going to make an album or anything like that, but you never know. I always keep my eyes and ears open.
You had such an interesting career, man. I'd love to see a book come out of you.
Oh, that's happening. It's actually right in the middle of it, and it's funny you say that. My buddy Doug Esper, who worked with Chuck Mosley from Faith No More, the original singer.
Right.
He wrote a book. He was the percussion player for Chuck. I toured with Chuck for a little while, acoustic, and with this band, and basically we became buddies. And I have a really crazy story that has nothing to do with music, as well as my whole music side of it too, which we're going to include. That it's not about me per se. It is about me, but it's not an ego-based book. It's more about situations that I've been in and funny things that people can relate to, and it probably would be interested in learning about me that they might not know, which is some fun stuff. That car's annoying. Anyway, so he's actually ghostwriting the book for me, Doug. And I already talked to, I think it's going to be available through Barnes and Noble. I'm pretty sure that it's going to have like digital distro and actually hard copies and all that stuff. And it's not 100%, but we've talked about it over the last weekend. Ellefson has his own publishing company now where he's putting out books. And obviously David has a big interview in the book where he talks about his experience playing with me. And he actually says some really cool stuff that people should hear. That I was really interested in finding out. I didn't even know what he said until my ghostwriter told me some of the quotes, and I was blown away by them myself. So it's really cool that he's in it and he was interested in being on it, and as well as a bunch of other guys. Bumblefoot does an interview in there for me about his experiences, stuff with me, and so some situations he had and some funny stuff. And so it's going to probably come out through Ellefson's book publishing company, and so it's pretty much lined up already to be released, and so he's got to finish it up. I'm hoping I can have it done around my birthday this year, but I doubt it. It's a little soon. It's in January, but we're close. We got some. He's got some good chapters done, and we're trying to button it up and get it done.
That's awesome, man. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Geez, Ellison's got himself a little empire going on there. Books, movies, bands, coffee.
Yep. Yeah, he always likes to keep things moving forward, and I've learned a lot from that because, like I said, we're in the middle of a pandemic, but you know what? You don't say no. You always say yes, and then it's in God's hands. Whether it happens or it doesn't happen, that's not up to you. It's like at this point, you just say yes. And if you can do it, you do it. If you can't, you can't,
So when you got all these different projects going on, what do you put your focus on? Whatever's in front of you at the moment?
Well, Ellefson, Dead by Wednesday is a huge priority because it's my baby. But luckily, because of that, I can schedule things around it. Ellefson is priority because he is obviously the biggest artist that I'm playing drums for at the moment. And, when it comes to money, Earth is usually a priority. I mean, Ellefson, takes care of me, but Earth, being a tribute band and being such a good tribute band with the singer who looks like Ozzy, sounds like Ozzy, the band's great. It really, has potential on helping with income and stuff,
You're also in Attitudes and Altitudes, right?
Well, I'm not the drummer again. So a lot of these albums were made before I was asked to play. So most of the time, these guys will hit Frankie Bello and David. Frankie Bello's from Anthrax, and David from Ellefson. They wrote an album together. They had a drummer, like a named drummer, play on it, who wasn't in the band but played on the album. And then when it came time to tour, of course they called the tour road dog me. And basically they asked me. Well, actually, how it came down was David asked me after Bumblefoot referred me for the job. So Bumblefoot's, really, well, actually, that's not even true, too. Tom Hazart had me in mind, and then between Tom and Ron Bumblefoot suggesting me to David, it was like a no-brainer. And then Ron told David, why don't we just use Opus, because the first string of shows were in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, so it made sense. And that happened to me before, with Bullet Boys. They had a tour in the Northeast. Instead of flying the drummer out, they had a guy here learn the stuff, have the gear and everything, help out. And they must have been on the outs with the drummer, I don't know. And then I did a tour with them, and then they flew back to California. So it makes sense. So that's why that's how the relationship started with the other band in Europe. I mean, we're just as much. When we started with Ellefson, it was called David Ellefson's Sleeping Giants. So technically, I guess you would say we're the Sleeping Giants. And then the European band would just be called Ellefson, because if you want to actually divide it, but really we're just all part of the same team, man. We're all Team Ellefson. So if that drummer can't do it, they're gonna fly me to Japan. They're gonna fly me to to Europe. I'd be the first call they make. If I can't do it, they're gonna call him. You know, like it's just better to have two versus one. And you know, they're on a lot of the original album, but we're on the cover album. We actually wrote one of their original songs on the last album. So it's like a big smorgasbord. What do they call that? Insensual, whatever your word is. Big group of guys who just like, that sounds weird, but it's true. It's like we're all together, we're all one, we're all united, we're all the way the world should be. We're all kind of like working towards the same goal. And the leader is David. His name is on the marquee. David's name's on the marquee. We got Tom Hazard, who's like running the show. He's like the captain, you know, the leader, the dictator leader. No, I'm just kidding. He's not a dictator at all. Totally cool guy. Love the guy to death. I'm just joking around, but the fact is there is a hierarchy, you know, and then we respect it. And then they get the band guys, and we're all together on it, you know. So that's how it works, and I'm just lucky to be a part of it, you know.
I mean, it's some of the nicest guys in the music industry too, man. I mean, Ron, he's fucking top notch. I mean, I've met Dave a couple times, super cool. I met Tom once. You know, I actually think I met you one time in passing at a Bass Story show. Cool.
Yeah, cool people hang out with cool people. We don't want to be on a bus stuck with a dickhead, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, you know, all the times, you know, when people get together and they have bands, sometimes they don't realize that not everyone gets along all the time, but it seems like you guys seem pretty close-knit.
Well, you know, it's funny. It's like, you know, before I got signed to Combat and EMP, I had a small relationship with David when he almost managed my old band, Gargantua Soul, in the 90s, when he was out of Megadeth. Or whenever, I'm not sure exactly when he was out of Megadeth, but whenever he was out of Megadeth, that's when he almost managed my old band. And basically, you know, we stayed in touch on and off, but until I started booking some of his Bass Story stuff around here and helping out with his acoustic stuff, meeting Tom, going out to California, having meetings with Tom, you know, and then showing him the new music I was doing and stuff like that. It was basically just like a not like this. Now we're like brothers, like, you know, like we're on the road together, we live together, we rock together, you know what I mean? Like it's a whole different vibe, you know. But I think that's what makes a difference. Is because I grew up listening to his band and was influenced by that style. Like the reason why David and we lock in rhythm section. Our rhythm section locks in because our styles are very similar. Like I grew up listening to Metallica and Megadeth and Exodus and Testament and Slayer and these bands so I play that vibe. I play in that style, you know what I mean? Like a lot of my influence is Lombardo and like Ulrich and like even Nick Menza, you know, people like that. So Gar, you know, like those guys are all influenced me. So basically, when I play with him, it's not difficult for him to lock in with me. It's like playing with one of his guys. So that's how we hit it off with the playing, I believe, because I grew up on that style. You know what I mean?
Now, with Megadeth finishing up the album and hopefully the world opening up where they might be able to start touring again, what are the chances of Dead by Wednesday being on the opening slot?
Very slim. And unless David were to stick his neck out for us in a major way, to the point where he probably wouldn't want to do it, because I understand how the business works and how the political red tape and all that stuff. There has to be a band that is drawing numbers that are astronomical or selling units like crazy, and being represented by the same agent who is booking Megadeth and has a reason to put them on, meaning they're either making money from it or they're somehow working with them or related to them or doing a favor for someone. So it's very political. It's a lot of red tape. I wish I could say it would be awesome. I wish I could say it could happen and that it would be awesome. but I understand this business way too much to know the reality and not to have delusions of grandeur. Listen, if we blow up, it's possible. I mean, so help us blow up, man. Spread the word about the band. Let's get this rolling, you know. Tell people about S.O.S. But at the same time, you know, usually what happens is, and I hate to be the bummer and be the guy who brings the truth. Truth hurts. But generally, the opening slots are buy-ons, which means that, and I don't know about for Megadeth per se, but I know for most major tours and most major bands, a major record label like I don't know, like some big Roadrunner or something would pay the agency to get their baby band opening for like a huge tour like Evanescence or like Slipknot or something like that. Unless the head guy in the band, like if Mustaine, if Dave Mustaine said, listen, I want Dead by Wednesday on this tour, it could probably happen. But that's few and far between. Most people don't get involved in that shit. They just do what they're told, go where they're going, you know, and make their money, and that's it. And the business is different, you know. It changed a lot. Maybe back in the day, that could have happened easier. But now, it has to be someone who is brought on by like that agency, like let's say like, I don't know, some big agent says, hey, a record label pitches a band for them. And they're like, well, yeah, okay, we could do that, but we need like, you know, $100K in promo. And they cough it up. Now that band is going out on the road for a major real tour. So it can happen, but it's very few and far between. It's usually more business based. It has to do with money. It has to do with connections. It has to do with a lot of shit like that. So, I mean, in the past, David has looked out for us where, like with one of but it's more lower level stuff. Like when he was playing with Metal Allegiance, he told the agent, who actually, luckily I knew, and all the stars aligned, he said, hey, could you throw Dead by Wednesday on these shows? They're from that area and they'll help draw. And the agent listened to him and he did it. And there was no buy-on or any of that crap. So it can happen. But again, that's not like stadium tours with Megadeth. It's a lot different than, it's a different animal. You know what I mean? So that's basically the honest answer right there.
Now, for someone like you who's been in bands for a real long time, you've been touring forever, are you? I mean,
trust me. I wish I've done huge shit like that though. You know, I've played with Rage Against the Machine. I've played with Metallica. I actually played Woodstock in '99. You know.
I went to Woodstock, so that's cool.
Yeah, you remember that big orange guy?
Man, I was 15.
Okay, I played inside the third stage under the airport hangar, the hangar.
Right, like where they had the raves and shit.
Yep, I played there with C.C. DeVille and two Skinny J's, and the band was called Gargantuan Soul, and it was doing amazing. It was managed by the tour manager of Rage Against the Machine. We actually ended up playing with those guys a lot. It was an amazing experience. It was like a rap rock kind of thing, you know, for the times, 90s. You know, we played right before Limp Bizkit on that stage. It was like I want to say like 60,000 people or something. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, I've had my share of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it's a roller coaster ride. It's a lot. It go up and down, and it don't matter, man. It's like that to me is not why I'm doing this. You know. Anyway, I don't mean to cut off your thought process. Go ahead.
No, that's cool, man. What I was saying is, like, for someone who's been in the industry for such a long time, are you prepared for any changes that could be happening once the world opens back up, you know, post-COVID?
Prepared, like, in what fashion? I'm not really sure what you mean.
Like, you know, I mean, I can't see arenas being open for a while. I see a lot of smaller clubs not going to be there anymore. I mean, touring's going to be changed. Certain states aren't going to let you. Like, I'm in New York, and I know you gotta fucking stay here for 2 weeks if you come here for a day. You know what I mean? On a lockdown. So routing's going to be different. You know, I mean, playing for a full capacity can be different for a while.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I also feel like that's why we're bands like us in our level, like the tribute bands and then the original like mid-level national touring, but not like arena style bands like Dead by Wednesday, and even solo bands like Ellefson or Mark Rizzo's solo project, or bands like that are going to thrive a lot more than bands that are like arena bands like Five Finger Death Punch or Bad Wolves or Hatebreed. Those are all great bands, but they need a certain amount of money and a certain amount of people in asses in the seats to make their nut, to be able to do what they do and perform and bring the entourage and the equipment and everything they need to play. So those kind of shows, I think that the bigger bands are actually going to get hurt more than the lower level national, like the, you know what I mean? Like, I think like the international, like the big ass touring bands are going to have a hard time because they can't do huge shows and they can't bring that many people together. You know?
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to do? Play a smaller venue and charge $300-400 a ticket to try and make that nut they would make at a arena selling thousands of tickets?
Yeah, I don't think that's possible. I think they're gonna have to bring their nut way down, and some probably will just to do the shows. I mean, I'm sure some people are gonna get a great deal on some bands in the near future, but at the same time, bands like us will always find places to play, even if they're like underground raves. I mean, honestly, it's bullshit that they're taking music away from us still. The first things to go in school systems is art and music. I feel like it's not even just about the COVID anymore, because like I said, there's ways of doing it where it could be safe. If you could do it with a Halloween attraction and all this other bullshit, then you could do it with music. And I know they say, oh, alcohol. Okay, well then don't have alcohol. Have all ages shows. And if you don't go, you don't go. Then you don't really like music. If you really want live music, you'll go. You know, so it's like, I think it's bullshit. It's partly about control, maybe. I just don't know. I have no answers. I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists. I do believe that there's some shady shit going on in our government, and there always has been, and it's been getting worse and worse and worse. But I'll just leave it at a very general statement like that, because no one knows facts. No one could ever know. It's like wondering about things about religion, or wondering things about death or life. I mean, you don't know. You'll never know. So I just go with the punches, you know?
Now, one thing you got to keep in your mind, man, is that when they write the history books of this COVID and what happened, I mean, you're going to be one of the pioneers for doing some of the first shows and getting out there and proving that we can go ahead and continue having live entertainment.
I guess you're right, and I guess that's kind of like why Ellefson wanted to do it in a sense. It's almost like, listen, you know, let's be the forerunners here. Whether, you know, if we get sick and die, we did what we love. You know, we went out and we hopefully it doesn't happen. You know, and everything's okay. But it's like, you know, like I said before, you can wake up, slip on your bathroom floor, hit your head, and die. You can get hit by a bus. You can get all kinds of stuff. Yes, it's a responsibility to keep everyone else safe. Like, you know, honestly, like, people are like, well, I can't go out because I have immune system that is lacking. Okay, well then don't go out. Don't go to a show. I need to go play a show because I need to make money and do what I love and not just run away and be depressed and become and not be who I am. I mean, yes, I did for a long time, and I still will if it gets really bad. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, like, there comes a point where, you know, I have to be able to work and do what I love. And if it's a risk, it's a risk. But I will take that risk smartly and safely as possible. And I said that over and over again in this interview because it's true. I mean, like, we're the forefront guys, one of the forefront guys, and who knows what's going to happen. I mean, for all I know, I could have it right now. I'm waiting on my results. I should know tomorrow whether or not. I mean, I feel okay. I'm out walking. You know, I'm doing okay. Everything seems okay. You know, so.
Yeah, man, I think everything's going to be fine. You know what I mean? You went out, you did a couple shows. You had the same amount of risk going to get your groceries.
Exactly. I mean, I that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I just don't know. A part of me is like, okay, so those people who say that, listen, my cousin, okay, my first cousin, who's like a brother to me, he's literally like a brother to me. He has, and I hate saying this, I hate telling the story because he probably doesn't appreciate it, but I feel like I have to sometimes because to make people understand the severity of how things are for our family. So my cousin, who's like a brother to me, has a child who has a immune system issue, and she's not going to live past maybe 6 or 7 as it is.
No, man, that's terrible.
Which is absolutely horrendous, right? It's terrifying. And before the lockdowns of COVID, she was in the hospital almost every other week just from a regular cold, never mind this shit. Since the lockdowns and since they've been super strict, because he's super strict, I don't even get to see him, which sucks. He has been thriving and doing better than she's ever been doing.
Well, right? That's awesome for.
Right. So now, so I know the severity of it, and that's the thing. So I don't go near them. But my point is that like you got these people who are like, well, they get pissed off like, well, you're getting people together and that's, I have an immune system. Blah, blah. Now I'm saying to them like, okay, well then I could do it. I did. Okay, you can't. So you're gonna punish me and not allow me to do my job because you can't do it. It's like that kind of mentality is selfish, and they think that it's selfish for us to want to play, which if you do it irresponsibly without masks and all this other stuff and drinking and having people breathing all over everybody and touching everybody, yes, it's irresponsible. But if you do it responsibly, as best as possible, and you take the personal responsibility, the personal safety yourself for others, then I don't see an issue with it. And that's my point. It's like, so now not only am I not seeing my kid for a few days, I have to wait to see my cousin just like everybody else. And so like, you got people at some of these shows, they don't understand the severity of something like that. I have to like, it's almost ridiculous. Like they come up after the show, it's like, good job, man. And they put their hand out and they want you to like shake their hand or high five. And they they literally get insulted if you don't do that. And it's like, listen, dude, it's not just about COVID for me. It's like, if I bring anything home, then I have more of a problem than others. And that's kind of like what they don't understand. And so like, that does bother me a little bit. Like, let everyone have their personal space. You can still say great show without hugging me or spitting on me or kissing me or like I try doing my elbow at people and they get insulted. Or I walk in with a mask in certain places and they're like, take that fucking thing off. And I'm like, no. Like, like they're like getting all like crazy on me and stuff over certain things. Not everybody, but there are a small percentage of people that do that, and that's the kind of stuff that I don't like. I mean, I appreciate everyone going, but let everyone do their job safely and respect everyone's personal space and respect everyone's choice and decision of what they want to do and how they want to treat this thing themselves. And that's kind of all I care about. I'm willing to work. I'm willing to play. I want to play. But I also want to be safe for my family, That's the only way we're going to have more shows, man, if people follow by the guidelines that we have right now. I mean, it sucks, but you got to do what you got to do. Exactly. So
what's next for Dead by Wednesday, man? I mean, you guys got another single coming out, full album?
It's crazy. We actually have a bunch of songs written since the pandemic. All we've been doing is writing, which is great. And we have a bunch of songs written. We were slowly recording them all, and we're planning on releasing like one at a time, which seems to be the new style because it's just people's attention spans are so short nowadays. So we're gonna do like singles for a few until everything's recorded, and then we'll put it all together and do an album at that point. But we have a bunch of new songs recorded, really all in the same vein as S.O.S. Not with the Spanish stuff, but the same vibe musically. And then we have that little run supposedly in December, if all this goes well, with Ellefson in November. We have a small run in December with Meridian Dawn, is a new band, Meridian Dawn. And then, and that's pretty much it for now. I mean, we don't know what the future holds for anything, so we got to see what's going on. We do have some stuff. We do have a couple tours on the table for next year if everything goes well. Like, we're probably going to go back out with Twisted again, and also we have a possibility of not a possibility because I work with them, but a short East Coast run with opening for Puya, which I'm psyched about.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So those two things, and then that's pretty much it.
So for those that want to follow up, they want to know the tour dates, they want to know about the music, where do they go, what do they do?
Well, for me personally, it's really easy to find on social media. Almost everything besides my YouTube is under Opus the Dopest. So it's OPUSTHEDOPEST, all one word. So for like Twitter, Instagram, even Bandcamp, I have solo material out there, acoustic stuff that I was doing for a while. Facebook, all that stuff. Opus the Dopest for personal stuff. For Dead by Wednesday, same deal. So actually before that, for YouTube stuff, I got some drum playthroughs. I got some TV appearances that I was on, some live performances, yada, yada, yada. You go to Mr. Opus the Dopest Music. That's the YouTube, because Opus the Dopest for some reason was taken. So Mr. Opus the Dopest Music for the YouTube. Now for Dead by Wednesday, same deal. You want to go to, for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Bandcamp, all that other stuff. We have a bunch of music and merchandise on our Bandcamp. You want to just go put in Dead by Wednesday. You can even Google Dead by Wednesday or Google Opus the Dopest. That shit will come up. But you want to just put in Dead by Wednesday, all one word. Wednesday's a weird word to spell, but it's WEDNESDAY. So Dead by Wednesday, all one word. And the same thing for YouTube. For YouTube, it's actually not Dead by Wednesday. It's DBW TV. DBW short, being the short for Dead by Wednesday, DBW TV for YouTube. And then if you want to check out my Sabbath tribute band, we actually have a website because we do a lot of international dates. It's Earth Sabbath Tribute USA. EarthSabbathTributeUSA.com. And for Ellefson, obviously, I mean, he's all over the internet. But Ellefson, you just go to any of his pages, just Google David Ellefson. He's like the promo guru. Well, actually, Tom, his partner, is. That's who really does a lot of it for him. But yeah, just Ellefson Band is the Facebook page. And then you go to Instagram, Facebook, or any of those things. Just look, type in David Ellefson, and he'll come up. So, yeah, man, all that stuff. And I appreciate you having me,
Thanks, man. It was great talking to you. I definitely can't wait to see what the future holds for you. I'm glad you're keeping busy, and just stay safe during these fucking crazy times, man.